Okay, so this is a tilt table. This is kind of the old-fashioned kind because it's a crank table, but they do make electrical tables too. The first thing you want to do is lock the tilt table. Unfortunately, ours is kind of it's very old, so the locks don't work really well. I'm going to lock it, but you're going to see it slide too, unfortunately. So, this is what you want to do. This is used for patients that haven't been standing for a period of time. So they might have been immobilized. I've had patients that have had like pelvic fractures and things like that, where they're immobilized for a good length of time. And so when they try to stand up, they develop orthostatic hypotension and they'll faint. So we're trying to reacclimate them into a standing position. So first thing you're going to do is put the belts on them, and there's little bars here that you can see. You can take your arms out first so you know. And so you just slide them in that little bar. And then clip that belt on. First one's going to be, right around the chest area. Make sure it's tight enough so she doesn't fall out if she happens to pass out. Okay. The second one, you want just above her knees. Some people will put it right on the knee itself, but I think that can be painful. So if you just put it right above her knee, then that'll help with knee extension. Okay, and then the third one, which fell off here. We're going to put it right at her waist level. Okay. So you want to take their blood pressure before you even get started, okay? Because the things that you want to look for when you do this is if they complain of being lightheaded, if you see a drop in blood pressure, a significant drop in blood pressure, or a drop in heart rate, okay? So on the bottom, can you see this, Trey? Oh, you can't really see it. Come on over here. You can see some degrees, so 0, 10, 20, 30. So you want to go about, depending on your patient and how severe they are, you can go back over there. You want to go about, 10 to 20 degrees. And so you're gonna start putting her in a standing position. So you initially want to do about 10 to 20 degrees, okay? Crank it. That's 10 right there. So if I was really concerned, I'd go about 10 degrees. I would ask her how she's feeling, whether she feels lightheaded. I'm going to let her sit there for a little bit. I'm going to take her blood pressure again and see if there's a significant drop. So if she's at 120 over 80, and I take her blood pressure and it drops to 110 over 60, that's still okay, but I'm gonna leave her in this position until it goes back up to 120 over 80, okay? When it's at 120 over 80 again, or it's starting to climb up, then I'm gonna crank it back up some more. Okay, that's at 20, okay? So same thing, I'm gonna just watch, another thing that they can do is if they start sweating, okay? So if, I'm just going to ask her a couple of questions, how she's feeling, whether she feels lightheaded. I'm going to just observe her, and then I'm going to take her blood pressure again. If you see a drop in blood pressure, leave her in this position until that blood pressure comes back up. Now, if you see a significant drop in blood pressure, let's say she's 120 over 80 and it drops down to 80 over 40, then I'm gonna put her back in supine, okay? And I may leave her there for a while and see if we can try it again, okay? But if it keeps happening, then you're gonna have to stop altogether and just let her doctor know. But let's just say it dropped down to 100 over 60, and I'm gonna leave her in this position. I'm just gonna monitor it. I'm gonna take her blood pressure again. If it's starting to go back up to 120 over 80, then I'm gonna go ahead and put her back up. So I'm gonna go to 30 degrees. And so on and so forth until we get her in a standing position. Now, I can gait train her right off of this, or I can move her to a wheelchair if I want to, or I can put her in the parallel bars if she does very well the first time, then we can start gait training her right in those parallel bars if we want. One thing I will say though, don't ever put them straight at 90 degrees. At 90 degrees, they feel like they're tipping over, okay? So usually we stop at about 80 degrees, and from there we'll either transfer them to a wheelchair or we'll start gait training them at the parallel bars. Stop.